Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Live with Alan and Greg and our guest, Michael Romeo from Michael Romeo Talks Books. Hello to anyone in the chat. I think we have 7 people in there, so you can start
already.
Start saying hello.
Wow.
So, how's everyone's evening going today? Or Alan, your afternoon? Right.
My evening's nice and quiet. Everything. I got the puppies here, and everything's nice and peaceful.
Cool.
That's cool. As I said earlier, dogs are welcome to pop in and out as they want.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I love animals. I'm partial to miniature schnauzers myself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you and Steve Donahue.
Is Saint Steve here?
No, he might. He shows up every now and then, but
yeah, he does.
Unpredictable. Say hello to Pat from Book Chat with Pat. Good
Hi,
evening.
Pat.
Hello, Pat.
And Medium John Silver. Enough cat videos for now. Time to watch Greg and Alan. Well, hello, Medium John Silver. And my good buddy, Lee.
Hey, Lee.
As I said, arrived safely today.
What's that? You doing a buddy read or?
She had an extra copy of this book, and she just dropped it in the mail for me.
What is it? What is it?
Jennifer St. Adrienne.
I can't do that yet.
It's about some Greek myths.
Oh,
so that should be good. And we've got Gareth all the way from late night in England.
Mario, England.
Wow, we got lots of people showing up. We got read by Fred.
Hey, Fred.
Everyone's showing up, Michael.
Yeah. And Gareth is looking forward to our Stephen King chat tomorrow.
Oh yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, I finished the book a couple of weeks ago, but
yeah,
scheduling happens.
Yeah, I made notes on it too. I read it like a couple of weeks ago too, so it's not fresh in my memory, but I made notes on it, comprehensive notes, so I am prepared. Dr. Zed is prepared.
All right, Michael. So as I said, the show usually starts with people just mentioning some books they've read or currently reading that you want to highlight. So as the guest, you get to go first.
All right. February, was it February? No, March. We just got out of March. March was an awesome reading month. Everything was good, but I finished it off with the first book of a 6-book series, and the book was called Romeo Rules, and the main character in it is named Mike Romeo.
Okay.
So I figured that it was written for me. It has to have been written for me, right?
Wow.
I guess so.
I'd say
is it a mystery series?
Obviously.
Is it a mystery series?
It's a mystery series. The flavor of it smacks a lot of Raymond Chandler.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's an indie author who's putting them out.
All right.
Yeah, I can say I've never read a book where the main character had my name, my same name.
It's a fun experience.
Yeah. Funny.
Well, when you speak about names, I'm going to mention something from the book I'm currently reading. It has a name linked to me in it. Sort of. Not exactly, but sort of.
Yeah, your last name would lend itself, I think, easier than my last name to like characters in popular fiction or, fiction in general.
Well, I have this Shakespeare play that has my last name in it. So.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah. Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, my name, they took the Mick off it. If I at Ellis Island, I'd be McMahon. I'm just Mahan, but with the Mick on it, it's McMahon. But I didn't have a very great reading week. I've been busy doing other stuff like painting and music and that. I don't know if I want to mention that I started like jotting my dreams down again. I use my phone to record them and then go back to sleep and then write them down in the morning. I had a killer one. Maybe I'll just tell you personally, Greg, later after the show.
Okay.
Had to do with like Monday Night Live, and it was really cool. My dreams are like movies, but I got some books in the mail, and I read this story about like two pen pals who are literate pen pals but never met for like 30 years. That was sent to me by Patricia, one of our commenter extraordinaires. Then I had a poem in the Stygian Society magazine. Want to hear a poem? Here it goes. I won't do that. I also reread The Dead, though, since you did that. And this edition, it was edited by our BookTube's Thomas Fasano. And he did a lot of great. You would like this too, Michael. He did different like endnotes, not end footnotes, and even I learned some stuff. And then I'm buddy reading with our friend. She's been on the show too, Caitlin Bandy's books. We're buddy reading this new book. I think it's 2 years old. Very interesting. Don't tell her, but I'm already done.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm ahead of all the groups in that. It's good to be retired, you know. Retired.
So, Michael, have you read anything else that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah. I have finally. I don't know how much you guys are into the trashy books of the 70s and 60s, but I just finished the last two Jacqueline Suzanne's, and I have to say that while she's labeled a trashy writer, I love her stuff. She's got great plots, great characters, and these last two, Once Is Not Enough, was just awesome. Anybody looking to study the 70s and the culture in the early 70s, they need to just read that book.
Yeah,
because it calls it forth and really gives you a good vibe about what was going on in that era, that time and place.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finished it up with Every Night Josephine, which was her memoir about raising a French poodle. And totally different from everything else she wrote. Totally delightful book. Poodles have a lot in common with Yorkies, and as we know, I love my Yorkies here.
Yep.
And so that one was fun. But a lot of the stuff that she encountered in raising her poodle, I've encountered raising Yorkies.
Cool. Sure. Now I have one book of hers in paperback. I think her most famous one is, I'm drawing a blank.
Valley of the Dolls.
Valley of the Dolls. That's the one that I have in a box somewhere in my storage room, and I'll get to it someday because it's just a very famous.
It is, and in my opinion, it's the best of her books.
Okay, it was her first too, wasn't it?
It was her first published one. No, I take that back. Every Night Josephine was her first published one. Then Valley of the Dolls, but then there was a science fiction book she wrote back in the 50s that she couldn't get published, and they published it after she died.
Oh, okay.
And it's a book called Yargo, which it's really campy, but it's a lot of fun.
All right. Yargo.
Oh, you said Iago, the character from Othello.
Put an R in it, and you got it. Yeah.
Okay. Coolio.
So Garrett's saying it's after midnight.
After midnight.
So Lee is down to 4 baby kitties. All right, Lee, I've got 4 cats, but they're not. Only one's a kitten. She's still a pain in the butt, but. Yeah, kittens can be just like, it's like she has the attention span of a gnat. She'll come up asking for attention, and you reach down, and then she'll run away and say, "Oh, what's that corner over there?"
And what's her name? Tibby?
Tibby.
What is it?
See, we did not name her.
Yeah.
She'd been named by the person who was raising her, and long story short is that her other cats were really fighting hard with the kitten. They didn't want a kitten, so she gave us the kitten. And she already responded to the name Tibby, so I said, just leave it. Don't bother changing the name. She knows it.
Sure.
And Gareth, Children of Men is very different from what I expected. So far, the film is better. Yeah, we're doing a...
when is that?
Well, we're waiting for Gareth to finish before that's our End of the World book club, where we're reading books about dystopian societies and the end of the world.
Yeah, I saw the movie of that too, and I read it as well for the group. Luckily, I made notes on that as well. But I like the premise of it. I thought it was drawn out, but
yeah, well we're going to get that probably next week. Get to it next week, I think, is when by the time Gareth is done. Oh, okay, Michael, we got a question from Read by Fred for you. Michael, can you tell us more about your project to buy books your mom once had? How is that going?
It was going great for a while, but then I took on this 100-book challenge. I got to read 100 books before I can buy anything else. So I haven't bought anything to go on my mother's shelf, but I'm making lists, and I'm still every now and then I'll just remember a book that she had that she loved, and I jot it down, and I'll tell you what, when I read that 100th book in the challenge, and I go to buy books, that's going to be one heck of a haul.
Now, how do you know what books she had and read? Do you have
just my memory? Just my memory of what she had on her shelves and what she would talk about.
I've mentioned it before, but a lot of people's mothers got them into reading in general.
Yeah, my mother did. As soon as I started learning how to read, she dragged me to the library every 2 weeks.
Yeah, our library as a kid was a place for me to escape. It was within walking distance, and I'd go to the library and read books. And I used librarians like I use Google now. You call on the phone, remember? What's this? What's that? But I used to go to the library to escape and get bad and go smoke. And I do library stuff, of course, but I could go and hang out and with my friends. It was fun back then.
Yeah. I mean, I remember there were lots of books in my house. I don't, there was a whole shelf in the basement where just, if you read a book, I guess my father and my brother and mother just stuck it on the shelf. So lots of paperbacks, lots of World War II paperbacks, which was I think his favorite genre. Just like
my mother also had a lot of books that she got from the Literary Guild. If anybody remembers that, it was a mail order book club.
Yeah, Book of the Month club. Like,
is it like it was like Book of the Month club?
Yeah, I used to be in all kinds of clubs.
Yeah,
sure.
And there's two books that I've got in my head that I know were on the shelf. I can see the covers. I remember what the covers looked like, and they were a pair. They went together. For the life of me, I cannot remember the titles or the author. And I would love to have those two books.
I can think of books that come in threes, like the D.H. Lawrence set came in threes.
Yeah, I've got those already.
Yeah. Joyce comes in threes.
Yeah, that Scott Fitzgerald, I think, was a 4 set.
Yeah, damn, wish I could help you. We'll see you in a dream.
Excuse me.
All right.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Lee says, Michael, we did the kitties. We did that one. Up here's Lee. These are all dumped kitties that need vet time and socialization. Yeah. Like I said, when I got my kitten, it was the woman adopted or rescued a cat under a deck. been abandoned. Only later did she learn that that abandoned cat was a mama cat to be.
Oh,
Got some kittens out of that one. Okay. The Childerment isn't finished. I found mine, so maybe I can read it too. Yeah, Lee, come in and join us. And if you ever want to join a live, you're always welcome. People.
definitely. It will have to be in June because we're booked up through April and May.
Oh,
but-
she wants. But she wants to join the Children of Men chat. That'd be cool.
Oh, sure.
People brought fancy kitties during the pandemic and then have them dumped. I was so thrilled during the pandemic. You heard people just like the shelters were emptied out, and they go, "We have no animals." And then it's like a family returning a family member, and it's just
Yeah, that makes me mad too.
Yeah.
It really did. And hello, Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I wonder if you got picked for a judge on the BookTube prize. I got fiction this round, so.
Oh, you did?
I did. Well, what they do for the book when you volunteer for both. In the past, Robert tried to alternate, so you wouldn't have fiction. Fiction or nonfiction, but at least last year he was really short on nonfiction judges. So I basically got nonfiction every round. That's okay.
Yeah, it's fun for you.
It is.
I almost did it. I might next year. My DK.
It's a lot of you get introduced to books that you would not otherwise pick up and read.
I would love to read some translated fiction.
They don't do that anymore, unfortunately.
Now,
the thing is, I discovered a couple really good books that way, and I've discovered some real turkeys as well. So, and the one that surprised me, and Robert says, is everyone's number one pick is someone's number 6 pick, and everyone's 6th pick is someone's number 1 pick.
Yes.
And the book, my number 6 pick, got passed on to the next round, and I'm just going, how did this? Well, I know how the book. It was Invitation to a Banquet by Fusia Dunlop, and it was all about Chinese food and Chinese history. And the thing is, this woman used delicious 5 times, 6 times in every chapter to describe it.
Oh, yes. What was it? What was it? What was it? Delicious.
And I'm sorry, some of the foods that she described just had me like.
Not delicious. Yeah, you have a fine-tuned palate, though, Greg.
What?
You have a fine palate.
I have a very limited palate, but who here would want to try stag pizzle soup?
Stag pizzle soup.
Is think what pizzle means. It means what you think it means.
Really? Not for me. I'd rather. I thought you say that. I was going to say something about shark fin soup, but.
Yeah, they like, she had not a whole chapter, but a large chapter on shark fin soup too.
Oh, she did?
It's delicious.
Delicious. Yeah, I was going to ask you, what was it?
Delicious. Okay, Michael from Red. Okay, non-bookish question, Michael. Can you tell us more about your Yorkies?
Oh, gladly. When we first got our first Yorkie, so many years ago, back in the 90s, when my wife and I were trying to decide what kind of dog to have, and I wanted a German Shepherd, and she wanted a Yorkshire Terrier, so she won. And I was really not interested in raising a small dog. It took about 2 weeks, and that dog totally won me over, because the Yorkies have such an incredible personality. They're so loving, so outgoing. And since then, we've had a total of 10 Yorkshire Terriers. We have 5 now, but there were 5 others that have passed away. And the ones we have now are TARDIS, Tetley, drawing a blank. Trappist, Toby, and the princess. What's her name? Toffee. And my wife just yelled from the other room, Toffee. And they're great. They're an awesome breed. I wouldn't trade them for anything. They're my babies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew you had a few, but I didn't know you had that many.
Yep. Yeah, got 5 now, total 10 over the years. And they're all named with T names with 2 syllables in honor of the first one, Tristan.
You ever walk them all at once? Like on 5?
I tried that once and it was a disaster. We won't do that again.
Do they like to be walked, or do you have like a backyard where they can roam free?
I got a couple that like to be walked, and the others can just roam in the backyard. Yep. So I've got a little bit of both.
Okay. Now, when I had my dog, I used to love walking him because you just get him on a leash, you put an audiobook on your ears, and you just go for 45 minutes, and the dog is just like thrilled, is like life couldn't be better, And,
yep.
Yes, I enjoy walking dogs as well. Even other people's dogs, I'll walk them for them.
So you're very devoted to the breed of Yorkie.
I am, yeah. I've been won over. Yeah,
you see, now the thing is, like when I get cats, I don't really care much about the breed. You just find the cat. It's like when I went to the shelter to get my last cats. It's like I sat down and you had originally filled out paperwork. Well, I want to look at these cats, and they've been adopted. Because what's the other cat? And so they had a 3-legged cat. They named Trike. I said, well, I'll take a look at him. I went in the room, put him on my lap. And he just rolled over. Let me rub him. Okay, we're taking him.
Yeah.
And my wife said, well, we really should see other cats to see which one we love better. And she went to another room. This cat they had originally called Morticia. She said, I like this cat. And we just said, okay, we're just going to take both of them, And I had originally wanted to volunteer at the shelter, but I know that would not work out well.
No.
Yeah, I volunteered at our local shelter for a while, and the one job that I was able to do that didn't tear me up was being the volunteer photographer at their events.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I did that for several years.
Yep. Because, I know me, it's like there'd be like an old 10-year-old, 12-year-old cat and no one wanted to adopt. So I'll take it, and just got to stay away.
Yep.
So here's Elizabeth. I'm skipping the second of the Book 2 prize. I had already agreed to read Les Miserables with Classics and Company, so that's a big commitment.
Yes.
I am also reading Les Miserables.
Indeed.
But it's not too bad. It's a little low. It's about 34 pages a day that you have to do, more or less,
Oh, it's a commitment.
It is, but it's all right. And here's his comment. Reason: the overuse of delicious. I understand the annoyance of a word repeated a million times in a book. It can get to the point where it's like nails on a chalkboard. Yes, I was just like, please don't describe this food as delicious. Don't describe it as delicious.
But it's true. Chinese food is basically all delicious.
Yeah, but the thing is, we don't eat Chinese food.
You eat Thai.
No.
We eat Chinese American food.
We eat Chinese American food. We're not eating authentic Chinese food.
just like when we eat a pizza or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
American, damn it.
Now that I'm reading about octopus, I cannot eat them any longer. Yeah, it's amazing how smart the octopus is.
Yo, I see. Yeah, you're right.
They've mentioned it's like
they do little. They can escape. They can figure out how to escape.
they recognize people,
Oh,
and they like certain people, and they dislike other people.
oh, really? That's cool. I didn't know that.
I don't know. I've read 2 books on them. One by Cy Montgomery, and someone else. I can't remember. And they describe in one of these books is like they have an octopus in a tank, and one person walks by and it spits water at them every time because they don't like it. And the other time they come out and they want to greet the other person. So
does it have anything to do with them with the guy who feeds them or anything or nothing?
No, it's just like you have friends and you like some people, dislike others.
Please, yeah.
And one thing that kind of really amazed, they're talking about how smart they are, because the octopus is actually a very short-lived animal. They live maybe 3 to 4 years. And one person hypothesized if they had a lifespan of like a sea turtle or whatever, they would be as smart as humans eventually. Now, whether that's true or not, I'm not going to say, but apparently they're just really smart.
There's a lot of cool octopus videos on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Go down that rabbit hole.
I think small dogs get a bad rap.
Yeah, me too. I
like small do. Dogs. Yeah.
I'm tempted to get a Chihuahua. I babysat a Chihuahua for like 6 months and really enjoyed it. She was funny.
Yeah, well, I originally was going to adopt a dachshund from the shelter.
Oh.
The only problem is this dachshund really tried to chase our cats a lot.
Oh.
And we had at the time a 16-year-old cat who just really was not in good health. And she used to sleep on the upstairs couch. And when we got the dog, she went downstairs. It was never coming up.
Oh.
Just wanting to avoid the dog. I said, that's really not fair to the cat.
No.
So fortunately, it was a foster to adopt program. So we just said, okay, we're going to foster. You find the home. And they found a home. The cat came back upstairs.
Wow, that's a great idea, foster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you have animals already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, not back in the day, but in the 90s, I had a girlfriend and she had a really cool cat. But we got another cat and the cat didn't, same thing. This cat would hide up in the cupboard. We'd go, God, where's Jada? Where's Jada? She's up with the cream corn,
Yeah, so Lee's mentioning Cy Montgomery, that's the one I remembered, has given us a lot of information on all this stuff. I didn't know. Yeah, hers was called The Soul of the Octopus, I think. If Greg volunteered at the shelter, he'd bring home hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats. And I would bring home cats. I know that, but maybe I might even bring home a dog too, or a rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's Gareth Freddenly. It's always seemed wrong to me to eat octopus. Pigs are very intelligent too, and chickens are more intelligent than people. I've heard about pigs being smart. I've not heard about chickens being smart. Hey, the discussion sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Al, do you eat small dogs?
How dare you?
Small. All right, we're getting weird. I ate weird stuff in survival school.
How dare you?
Dogs are cats.
I'm partial to small dogs. Yeah. I mean, growing up, we had a miniature schnauzer, so it might have something to do with how you grow up. Because I know people that love bigger dogs. But there's a lot of dogs and cats in the building. It's an animal-free, or not animal-free, animal-friendly building where I live.
Mm-hmm.
So Fred was going, LOL, hey, this isn't the Is This Thing On show with Gareth and Dave and all the cookies and food to eat. Why are we talking about food? Because I was talking about the Book 2 prize that made to the next round about Chinese food.
Oh, yeah.
Survival school, is that the extreme form of Scouts? Hey, they're using our script. Okay, here's Fred. But now that we're on the subject to Alan, Greg, and Michael, what is your favorite meal? Ooh, that's a hard one.
I have one, but go ahead, Michael.
My favorite is Coquille Saint Jacques. It's scallops in a wonderful white cheese sauce
Ah,
Okay.
with the breading on top, and it's awesome.
well, I have a death row meal, but look what I'm going to enjoy soon. Some scallops and a creamy
Ah, I'll be right over.
I'm a bachelor, you know. I like Trader Joe's stuff. I cannot cook a little bit. My death row meal is, and I've thought about this. It's been for years. It has something to do with my grandma. Catfish, spinach, rice pilaf, pecan pie. Those
Mm,
things that make me happy. Maybe cheesecake.
I like
I love
pecan pie.
pecan pie.
I like pecan pie.
Ah,
For me, it'd be harder to pick a favorite meal. I like essentially the lamb curries at my local Indian restaurant.
mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to try that. We have an Indian restaurant that just opened up a few months ago. It's still in business, but I'm pretty ignorant about Indian food. I know it's your favorite, Greg, or one of your favorites.
It's good.
Pie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have like they said, at least at my Indian, we have a Mughalai lamb. It's just, they say, a mixture of medieval Indian spices.
Ah,
I think it's very right. You have it with your naan bread.
none.
Mm-hmm.
Al, Canada can end you real easy. Up here, the weather and food is rare. I grew up a military brat.
Oh,
Okay, guys, he's talking about, I guess, the survival school is that if I guess he's saying it's like in certain parts of Canada, it's like your options may not be that much to eat. I don't know. We can talk about that. Gareth, I had a chinchilla for a couple of years. And Chihuahua. He constantly wanted to walk. Took him out for 4 hours, and he still wasn't knackered.
yeah. I lived we had a backyard, and this is in Portland just about, I don't know, 6 years ago or so when I babysat this Chihuahua. I was, tempted to adopt it and keep it, but then I ended up moving and blah, blah, blah. But I would walk her all the time. Then I used to walk this big, it was half wolf, half German Shepherd.
Mm.
And
But that was pretty.
yeah, that was when I lived in Toledo, Ohio a few years ago too. And I'd walk her in the park. She was a really cool dog.
All right.
Yeah.
My dog was a beagle mix. And the owner said he was just a beagle, but you looked at me, he was like 60 pounds and going like,
oh,
he's mixed with something else. But he had the beagle bray. He liked to lift his snout to the air and just howl. Just don't know what he was howling at, but he just loved to howl at something.
Mm-hmm.
So Al grew up with Huskies. Then my mom got a Yorkie toy. Weirdo dog he was. No, I guess are they toy Yorkies or are they just regular Yorkies? I don't know if there's a difference.
There's regular standard Yorkies, and then there's teacup Yorkies.
Okay, so I guess
And that's what this one is. This one's a teacup Yorkie, and
Okay.
she's only 3 pounds, and that's as big as she'll ever get.
Oh,
Right? Isn't that right? Yeah.
does she get to sleep on the bed with you guys?
Yep.
Huh.
No, we get to sleep on the bed with her.
Ah,
Yeah. Miniature schnauzers like to get up in the, I don't know what you call it, the crook of your knee, like behind you.
Yep.
Miniature schnauzers, they're Scottish, actually. I was thought they were German, but they before they sit down, it's bred in their brain. They go around in a circle before they sit down.
Yeah.
They-
Yorkies do that too.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
they used to there'd be hay all around, and they'd have to hunch the hay down. That's what I heard.
Yep.
What I heard.
okay. So here's Fred again. He's bringing back some books. To each of you, what has been your favorite read so far this year?
So far this year. God, there's been so many good ones so far this year. I'd have to go with The Hunger by Whitley Strieber.
Okay,
Yeah, I read that.
I read that a number of years ago.
Yeah, MJ and I did a buddy read on it in January.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot better than I expected it to be. It was a really good book.
Yeah, and then he wrote The Communion, and that he caught some flack for that.
That was his idea that he had been kidnapped by aliens.
Abducted.
Now,
I didn't read the book, but I saw the movie with what's his name? Yeah, Christopher Walken played him.
I like him.
do you believe him that when he said he was kidnapped by aliens, or you think that was all just a big facade for the money?
I think it was a put on for the money.
Yeah,
I believed him, especially that harrowing probe scene where he got probed.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I don't. All right, Alan. What about you?
Being abducted. What's that?
What's been the best book that you've read this year?
Oh, that's easy for me. It was a reread in a group. War and Peace, translated by Anthony Briggs. And yeah, I didn't mark this up at all too much. I used like just bookmarks, and I wrote notes and page numbers on the bookmarks, and used notes you'll be happy to see. Oh shoot, here's some. Anyway, yeah, it was a reread for me. I don't know why I waited so long to read it, but yeah, and I also read Moby Dick this year.
That's right, first time around.
Yeah, first time for that. That was with Scott and Becky and some other people, group, and Queequeg. What a character! He's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Cannibal. A lot of great lines in there. I did like a Moby Dick journal on that too, so I wouldn't mark it up. And I put a lot of aphorisms in it. One of my favorites from Melville is rather sleep with a drunken cannibal than a sober Christian. Referring to Queequeg. He's covered in tattoos. And
yes.
Yeah. Moby Dick's a shite.
I'm going to have to reread it again someday, but BookTube is just like filling my dance card, as they say, with lots of books.
Yeah, before I forget, I wanted to mention like The Dead and then the Jack London story you read, and I guess you voted. And I can understand how the Jack London would win out, because I was remembering the first time I read this, like as an undergrad at Kent State. I think I probably DNF'd it, and it was so boring. All that Victorian stuff. I can see why young readers
Well,
today.
the thing is, it's not a bad short story at all. It's a good short story, but it's there's depth there that I was not getting. I read a little bit of criticism. They say it's a really good book about the Irish character,
right? And
what it means to be Irish. And I don't know anything about being Irish other than what I would read in the story. So what he was referring to, just goes over the head.
Yeah.
So that part is why I don't think it's ultimately going to win very high in my list. I think it's going to probably, I've only read 3 short stories. I've read my third. That was, I read The Hunger Artist by Franz Kafka.
Oh, I love that one.
That's a really good story.
Yeah.
But going back to my favorite reads, my favorite reads this year are all rereads so far. I would say The Maltese Falcon and Fahrenheit 451. Have all been real. I'm looking at my list of the ones that are new reads to me. And the best new reads would be the play Rhinoceros by Eugene Ionesco.
Ionesco, yeah.
Ionesco, and maybe Carpenter's Gothic by William Gaddis.
Yeah, that was a fun read.
It was a good. I mean, I think ultimately it's nowhere near as good as the Recognitions or JR.
Yeah.
But really, we've had 2 months. No, we've had 3 months of reading right now. But other than that, I have not had any books knocked out of the park like the first time you read a book. Now, we have not talked about the books that I'm currently reading, because one of them may be a knockout of the park book, and that is From Hell.
Oh, by Alan Moore.
By Alan Moore. This is the graphic novel version of Jack the Ripper.
Now, MJ was talking about that too. I think she's currently reading that too.
MJ and I are doing a buddy read, so we're sending boxers back about what we think.
Yeah, great.
And there's some really bizarre stuff in this book. Alan Moore has this really deep intellectual bent, where he's talking about the architect Hawkmoor, who designed lots of cathedrals, who was either a pagan or a Satanist in real life. And at least in this book, that the Jack the Ripper is following sort of in the footsteps and trying to create a pattern with these murders. They're just not random killings. I'm really having a lot of fun with this so far.
Yeah, I loved it.
And then we'll have to see where Les Miserables fits in the end. I like it, but it has that very old style of writing that can get sort of irksome sometimes, especially when he's talking about. Now, Michael, have you read Les Miserables?
I tried it. I DNF'd it.
I have not read it.
Okay. Well, it starts off talking about a bishop who's very dedicated to the poor and making sure that. Hello, Teddy.
Teddy's
Say
my
hello
favorite.
to Teddy. I know.
Teddy's my favorite. That was funny.
Yep.
Teddy.
Yeah, he just walking. He wants me let outside or take him for a walk. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Michael. I walk that cat on a leash.
Really?
I do.
It's funny. Teddy's
Yeah,
cool.
so I'm hoping to get some real knockout books. We've got the book 2 prize that I read. There were some decent books in there. There was nothing in my round that I think will win the BookTube prize. And only one of those, maybe there's 2 books I think could potentially make it to the final round, but I don't think so. But we'll see. Like I said, people liked the Chinese food book and I didn't, so who knows what people will vote for. Here's a question from Elizabeth. Got taken a while to get to Elizabeth's question. Sorry about that. Back to books. It's a question I heard in Hannah's books Q&A that I thought was fun. What is the book you mention the most often in your videos?
That's a good question.
What book do you think that is, Michael?
I think it's probably Trinity by Leon Uris.
Okay.
That's one of my all-time favorites, and I know I've mentioned it quite a few times in my videos.
Yeah, I love that book. That book sat on my shelf back in the 80s for like years before I read it, and then it blew me away because, you know, it's all about Irish history, and there's a romance in it, love story, and coming of age, and I've read that a couple times, and I don't have a copy currently. I think I gave it away to somebody.
Yeah, I've read it about 3 or 4 times, and I'll read it again.
I'd reread that too. Now the sequel, Redemption, I didn't like as much.
I haven't tried that one.
Yeah, that was a sequel to it, but
I have only read his book, The Hajj.
Oh.
It's supposed to be a good one from what I've heard.
And I have another one that I really want to read. That is the one about the Jewish ghetto revolts.
Oh, what's that called? Milla 18?
Yeah, Milla 18. I have that. I really want to get to that one because I read the Wall by John Hershey, which is the same setting. It's going to be told from a different perspective. So, Alan, what did you say was your most mentioned book? I can guess. There's 2 books that may get mentioned.
I think Al has got it right. Probably Finnegan's Wake. I mentioned offhandedly, like in passing a lot, or Ulysses.
Yeah, here, Al, Beowulf for me. Beowulf.
I've never heard you mention that.
I've mentioned it maybe once. I don't even like Beowulf that much.
I've never read it.
See, I did reread it last year when they're doing a reread for Beowulf. They're going to read all the different translations, and I read one translation. Now, see, my problem with Beowulf is I noticed this as I'm getting older, is that their form of government is the man who's the best warrior should be king. And I'm going, that's a really terrible way to pick a ruler of a country. So, Alan, what do you think my book I think I know because I'm going to mention it in another video this week.
Damn, I have to think about that. Maybe shit.
I want to see. Oh, wait, my head's covering the book.
Oh. Not a Kurt Vonnegut. I mean, you talk about so many different books.
You'll know it when I pick it off the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
I probably mentioned this the most.
Yeah, that's true. Is that your favorite book or just your favorite comedy?
It might be my favorite book. Albert Camus' The Stranger is another one that was really popular for me.
Yeah. This I reread this last year.
I also mentioned J.R. by William Gaddis a lot.
Yeah, that's true. You do. J.R. Yeah, I'll have to reread that someday. That's hilarious, guy.
It's a really good book. Doesn't get a lot of attention. Well, hello, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
About Jim. Yeah, Jim mentioned he didn't get a lot of reading this week done because he was doing a drawing. Yeah, maybe I'll box through Jim on that.
So here's a question, Michael, from Pat. Michael, I know you've been doing the banned book challenge. Can you tell us how that's been going for you?
It's been an eye-opening experience.
How so?
How so? Well, most of the books I've read so far are YA books, which I've never delved into, even when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's turning out to be a genre that I'm really enjoying.
Wow.
It's challenging me to really think about the issues that are causing the books to be banned, and are they valid in the specific books? Yeah, there's stuff in there that, some people might find offensive, but the overall thrust of the book is usually an important point. Like one of them, called Flamer. I agree with one critic that had a blurb on it that said this book will save lives because it follows a suicidal character right up to the point of cutting his wrist, and how he gets saved at the last minute. Hello.
Sorry about that.
And so is it worth throwing out the baby with the bathwater? Yeah. Okay. So there's some questionable stuff in the book that you may not think kids should be exposed to, but ultimately, if somebody who was suicidal picked up this book and read it, it just might turn them around.
That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I'm doing the same. I'm doing the banned book challenge too.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I put up one of my videos, people get it on with me. And like, there's one person was talking about the book Gender Queer, about how obscene that book was, and that how librarians should not be handing it out to children. So what I've decided to do, it's either going to be part of this week or part of next week, is I decided to read some books that are labeled as obscene. And one of them, I got Gender Queer from the library. I don't know how well I'm going to get along with it because I don't do well with YA books historically. I just really don't like them very much. I know you're saying, Michael, that you're really getting into them, but every time I read a YA book, I get irked. I just it does not work. So we'll have to see how well that goes. But I'm pairing that with Allen Ginsberg's Howl. See what an obscene book from the 50s is going to be with an obscene book from the
50s,
2020s. So we'll see. We'll see how we'll see if that comes out. I think that will be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, have you found any other really good banned books that you've been reading that have really excited you?
Yeah, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which was the first one I read. It was based on MJ's recommendation. And that book was just an absolute joy to read all the way through. Again, had some questionable stuff in it, but I don't think it's bad enough stuff that you need to throw the book out, because there's messages in it that these kids need to hear.
Yeah, what makes me mad is parents are afraid, my kids are going to be turned on to this, or they're going to be discover this where they wouldn't know beforehand, like suicide. I mean, everybody under the sun has thought about suicide, and that you're not going to keep the idea away from somebody, or I don't know, man.
It's a very interesting project. I mean, even going back to some of the older banned books that were like Ulysses was definitely seen as obscene in its day.
Yep.
Les Miserables was banned. I can't remember why it was banned, but it was banned.
In America, my biggest beef is there's fourth graders are reading at a kindergarten level. Some are, especially in the southern states. And that's where Florida, Texas and that, they're trying to ban more books, While meanwhile, our kids are ignorant just horribly in this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then they can vote.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so let's see. For Al, tie for me this year, Cosmic Scholar. I guess he's talking about favorite book, John Swart and King Jonathan Ing.
Yeah, and Al mentioned Zarathustra.
Yeah, he's going to mention that in a chat down below. Al, The Little Prince should qualify for short fiction.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Love your short story series, Greg. I've mentioned them in a short story themed video scheduled up soon. Cool, Gareth. As I said, I finished my third. That was The Hunger Artist. Yeah, that is my favorite so far.
Mm-hmm.
Peter the Book Lover. Hello, everyone. The best book I've read this year is Silas Mariner by George Eliot. Mm-hmm. Has anyone else read Silas? I have not. I've only read Middlemarch.
I haven't read it yet. It's on my shelf, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, yeah. Finnegan's Wake for Me.
This is his favorite one, probably the one he mentions the most.
Yeah, I'd reread in a group with Al. I'd reread that, like on a boxer group. That'd be a cool group to have.
I would. I've been meaning to pick up some of Nietzsche's books eventually. It's like I said, it's just clearing the schedule of all my other things.
I like ancient philosophy, and then I like existentialism and that. And I like Nietzsche's eternal return theory, and his Ubermensch. I was really into him back in the day, back in the 80s. Had workshops in college about Nietzsche. I remember when he was called Nietzsche before it was Nietzsche.
So here's Pat. Yes, many of the newer banned books are YA books, and it's so important these books be available to kids as they address so many important issues. Right. That's really so true. And
I think that was a teacher too.
And what I don't know if I've mentioned this in a video is it's also important that the kids can check out a library book and have no one really tell what books they're reading. And that's important because especially if you have a kid who's LGBTQ, and his parents are really against it. You've heard stories of parents who disown their own children when they come out of gay lesbian.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
it's sad, very sad.
It's really sad, but these kids need this affirming books that they'll tell them,
oh yeah,
you're okay, and you don't have.
Greg, yeah, I remember being a kid. The fun of discovering that and reading the F word for the first time, and just reading out of your comfort zone, and it's like reading about foreign lands, adventure.
Yeah,
Hardy Boys.
It is. It's just, and like you said, it's so sad that the banning nowadays is mostly focused on younger readers. Now, if I have a mug of my banned books and you list all some of the banned titles, and the banned titles are not children's books on my mug from like 15 years ago. It's all adult books. But the focus has changed.
Yes.
Very heavily. And you're right. Garrett says, right, you're right. A book could save someone from suicide. I had a life-saving experience. I was a teenager from a book. Yeah. It just, parents, should just leave it alone. Your kids are going to read what they're going to read.
Especially with the internet now. And, please. With the internet, God. You're not going to keep your kid away from anything.
Pat says, I have loved almost every one of the banned books that I have read so far.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we're gonna have Pat on the show too. I think in
Yeah.
June.
The only one that I have not really liked so much was I read oh God, Little Black Sambo.
Oh yeah,
That was
he runs
a
around.
children's book from 1899. You know, you know, and it was mainly the illustrations that got it banned because they had very outdated visions of what black people look like.
Yeah, caricatures.
But as a story, I mean, I never really got into children's books or picture books, so I just didn't see it as charming the way some people might have seen it way back in the day.
You never read like Curious George or anything as a kid?
I did, but I don't remember it. I have a video coming out tomorrow about that, about favorite picture book. And I'm going, I don't remember any real picture books.
Curious George? Little monkey running around?
It's all a fog of memory.
Now they got my kid grew up on Blue's Clues, and it was on video. Now VHS tape.
My big one when I was a kid was Babar the Elephant.
What's that?
Babar the Elephant. King of the Elephant.
So, Fred, I've heard some of the books I read in school are now banned in some areas of the U.S. The Flies, To Kill a Mockingbird. I remember these, and I'm planning to read them again as an adult.
Yeah, they're banned.
Yeah. If you look at some of these Florida bans, they're banning everything. And it's just like the Raymond Chandler is banned in Florida. Like The Big Sleep. Like, why are you The Big Sleep?
And then if they're not banning them, it's almost worse.
Come on, kids, quiet down.
They're what's the word for it? Not bastards. They're changing the editing, the words.
Boulderization.
Yeah, boulderization.
That's see. Now, I don't want to get too much into the political sphere, but the political right likes to just ban the books outright, just get rid of them. The left likes to change the books and make them appropriate for sensitive audience.
Which I don't like either.
Yes, me neither.
Well, I mentioned this when I was listening to the audio book of Airport by Arthur Haley. And I was reading there's a scene in one of the airports, and I was listening to the audio book, and they describe one of the characters as African American and really good at his job. And I'm going, man, Arthur Haley was really progressive looking to call him an African American back then.
But he didn't.
And I said, wait a second. And so I got an old paperback copy, and sure enough, it was just Negro. But I eventually tracked down an ebook version. That edit was actually done by Arthur Haley himself.
So
he says, and in his introductory says, yes, I know that word was not used back then. I just wanted to change it.
Yeah, well, if the author does it himself, of course, no problem. Like Faulkner edited his stuff greatly.
But the problem is if I could recognize it as wrong from an audiobook, then it just stood out like a sore thumb.
Right. Yeah. An example of this too. This is a new book. I talked about a buddy reading it. I already finished it, but I marked the page because I went back and forth in audio. There was a phrase called that went like in the audio it was Negro please. And I go no, and I looked it up. It was like N-word please. So I don't know why they would change that in the audio. That makes me mad.
It's really kind of curious. There was a history book about it was called Reaganland, and it was about how Reagan rose in California and got elected president. And in the beginning of the audiobook, they had a disclaimer saying some words have been bleeped out. And I wondered why they did that. And my best guess is that the narrator of the audiobook said, I don't want to say that word.
Mm.
That's just personal guess. I don't know for sure.
The narrator, if I was like the director, producer of that.
The thing is, it could have been the director or producer saying, I don't want to produce that in this. So they just cut it.
Yeah.
They didn't explain why. But they at least said, we're going to bleep the word.
Yeah. Huh, man. God, it's 2024, man. I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm. But the problem was the author was quoting stuff from that era. You know, I'm reading the quote from this. So it's not that the author was using that word to describe people back then. He was reading the source material.
Boy, that really makes me mad. Now I'm mad. Can you tell?
His friends, they've been challenged. He's talking about Lord of the Flies, To Kill a Mockingbird. Fred, those are all essential readings over here.
Yeah, Gareth.
Yeah, I don't know what he's saying.
Maybe I'll.
Barba Popa and less trumps from me. French croutons. It's funny to watch.
Al's Canadian.
Hey, Elaine.
Hey,
Jess Book Girl TV.
Hey, Jess.
Oh, Elizabeth's got to go. Nice been talking to you guys and gals and dogs and cats. Have a nice evening. Have a good night, Elizabeth. Jess read To Kill a Mockingbird 2 years ago.
Yeah, with Scout and Atticus Finch.
Yeah, I've read that book twice.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it, I think it's just an okay book.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the great book that some people claim it is, but it's okay. I mean, it's a decent book, but
I can highly recommend the audiobook version with Sissy Spacek doing the reading.
Okay. I did listen to a audio version. I don't remember the narrator.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was Sissy Spacek. Did she do the unabridged or did she do an abridged version?
Unabridged.
Okay. And Cobalt Dragon read by Fred. I just read Lord of the Flies. I first read it back in public school. Okay, I have got to reread that book. I listened to an audiobook that was narrated by the author.
William Goldman?
William Goldman. It was it was kind of an older recording, but what was really fascinating is before he read the chapter, he gave his author's comments on every chapter, on how he came to write it, what he thought the character motivations were.
Yeah, he's a great screenwriter too.
And my favorite thing is that in the book there's a character named Piggy who has glasses. And they use the glasses to reflect sunlight to start fires. And he after he published a book, someone pointed out that the nature of glasses, the way they reflect light, would not start fires. Because the way your glasses are done, they're not really glass. He used a technical term about how you reflect light. The glasses would just reflect it away and not create the heat. And he said, well, who says what kind of glasses this guy had? But that's the, a little minor detail.
Right. I wear bifocals myself, so with that extra, and then if you have an astigmatism, it's real thick on the end, you might be able to start a fire if you puff on it real hard.
Well, Alan, go to the backyard of your apartment building and hold your glasses out and put it to the test.
Yeah, get a little fan, wave on it. No, I'm sure I couldn't do it.
So Reese Witherspoon reads Ghost Set a Watch. I have not read. I've heard lots of unflattering things about Go Set a Watchman.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but I like Miss Witherspoon. I still haven't read or seen the movie The Crawdad. What's that? I love that book.
So, where the Crawdads sing?
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
book. I've yet to see the movie. I want to see the movie of that. She's in that.
Okay. We have Flo is in the house. Hello, Flo.
Hello.
Ross has been here for a while.
At the Grape Jelly Library.
Yeah. She's got
So-
my favorite, one of my favorite libraries, Floss.
Yeah, you keep mentioning she's got a refrigerator in her library.
Yeah,
Your
small
favorite
one.
thing to mention.
Yeah, small one. I had a small one in my dorm. I basically live in a upgraded dorm. I haven't changed much in 30 years.
So Al says nearsighted do not work, but other prescriptions do. Keyboard experts. LOL.
Oh,
Happy April Fools, everyone, says Flo.
yeah.
We avoided at all costs if you heard something. Okay. Good point, Flo. Does anyone experience April Fools today? Mark did an April Fools video.
That's what prompted me to do my April Fool's video.
I have not experienced any April Fools.
No. I tried to get one of the guys at work to do an April Fool's joke on somebody else, and he wouldn't do it.
Oh, you're an instigator, huh? You're like me. I like to manipulate people and make them do things.
Yeah, and then watch the results. Yeah.
I remember, was it last year, Alan?
What?
Where you tried to do an April Fools on me about not being able to make the show.
Did I?
And I said, okay, we'll go without you.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's April Fool.
Yeah. I probably thought it'd be a big deal. I wanted to ask Michael though. Like this isn't personal, but are you Irish?
No, French.
French, or I was thinking Italian with your. But would you? What am I trying to say? Do you read a lot? I don't read a lot of Irish literature per se, but I like Joyce a lot.
I haven't read a lot of Irish literature, mostly contemporary stuff.
Yeah, Jason Harrigan over at Shannon in Ireland keeps threatening to send me some books, and one is Paul. Now I forget the name of it. I'm getting it from the library so I could find it fairly fast. But I was thinking about Ulysses. Would you be into joining us for that this summer?
I'd give it a shot. Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We're going to do it. So speaking of that, Michael, what other BookTube events are you looking forward to this year?
I'm looking forward to Garb August and June on the Range. I enjoy both of those.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be a co-host in both of those. So
I've got my Louis L'Amour lined up. I got like 3 of them. Then I've got a William Johnson about like the outdoorsman or mountain man. Some kind of mountain man book.
Yeah, he has The Last of the Mountain Men.
I have some Zane Grey downloaded on my my tablet.
There you go.
That'll probably be what I read this year.
Cool.
That's cool. I mean, I have not picked out anything specific for June on the Range.
Now, would this mountain man story qualify for adventure story?
Absolutely.
Oh, it would?
Almost all Westerns would qualify as an adventure story as well.
Oh, I need to read a short story still. I have that big book of adventure stories coming in the mail, but it probably won't even make it. Not in the mail, at the library.
Oh, you ordered the library version?
Yeah.
Was there a waiting list?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, it'll probably come too late, but who knows?
I'm reading The Tiger's Prey too by Wilbur Smith. So, but that doesn't. I'm not following the prompts of Springtime and Adventure. Yeah, the Big Book of Adventure Stories. Oh, I'm close to it. Yeah, I'll get that by the end of the month. But
Okay.
sorry for the. Yeah, okay, Michael. I'm waiting for Cleat. It's on order from the library. That James Lee Burke new one, Cleat.
Yeah, tried to. I looked for it today, and apparently it's being released June 14th or something like that.
Cool. Yeah, well, we can buddy read that.
Did he also write the Neon Bible? Is that his?
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I
Then
thought
he's got
I
a whole
had
other
the
series
Neon
about
Bible.
Bob Holland, Texas Rangers. Those are good.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I haven't read any of those yet, but I have some.
Yeah, they're violent. He's like a Southern grit, too. I call him true grit, like Cormac McCarthy, or I like Harry Cruz is a late great Southern writer. Harry Cruz, I liked a
Don't
lot.
recognize him.
Yeah, he was wild.
I thought for sure that I had the Neon Bible on my shelf, but I can't
That's
look.
a big Robo-Show book. He's a cop out of NOLA, and then he goes between that and New Iberia, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Alcoholic who kind of relapses now and again. The main character, Dave Robichaux. But this his partner Cleat is even worse. God, Cleat is so funny as a character.
Yeah, he pops in and out of the series as it goes along. Yeah.
Boy. Big brute-looking guy with a heart of gold.
Okay, I gotta locate my copy. It's
somewhere. I buddy read Robichaux with Roz, and something she pointed out I'll never forget because she had a great point. Like in Burke's books are very violent, like Cormac McCarthy kind of violent, and so all the guys are getting beat up, right? And Cleat's in a fight, he gets like maybe black eye and that. He F's up his arm, but he's still in. Now, if a woman gets beat up, she goes to the hospital and is all like he doesn't have real tough women. And I was thinking Molly, his wife, is pretty tough, but that was her critique. She didn't like his the way weak women. She had a point.
All right. So Al thinks Go Set a Watchman is great, but it predicted this mess today, so not going to be popular with the herd.
Prophet Song by Paul Lynch is a contemporary Irish novel. I'm waiting for Jason to send me. I might have to buy it because I'm 279 on 60 copies. So I might not be getting Prophet Song too early.
Okay. That's been nominated for the BookTube prize, and it's still in contention.
See, there you go. See, I read new fiction.
You do.
Not all old boring stuff.
So I guess Gareth is going about to Set a Watchman. Do you mean the MAGA mess or something? Yeah.
Is that to me or?
I think it's Al Olm. He's talking about the Go Set a Watchman predicted this mess today.
Oh, because Gareth calls me Al too. A lot of people call me Al. That's fine. I used to go by that in high school.
So Gareth, are you guys doing April's? I'm a co-host of Spring Into Adventure, so I'm doing it. I read Lineagen versus the Ants today.
Oh yeah, that's right. Talking about that on Boxer.
That's a really great old short story. You know that one, Michael?
No, I don't.
It was made into a movie with Charlton Heston called The Naked Jungle.
I remember that name.
And that's where he's a planter in Brazil, where his plantation's being overrun by army ants.
Uh,
I don't like killer animal novels as much as Greg does.
Yeah, he's going, yeah, anti-racial paternalism, reactionary activists, that sort of thing, I guess. Atticus is labeled a racist, but he is predicted that raising a group by fiat without actual education and representation would not end well.
Atticus Finch, lawyer.
Yeah, I guess that book is actually like the same characters of the To Kill a Mockingbird, but it's not really the same characters. It's just
That's what I heard. I think isn't Scout more predominant in it? That girl, she's a girl in.
well, can't be more predominant than she was in To Kill a Mockingbird. That she was all she was the narrator of that, so she's all over the.
Maybe what I meant to say is a retelling of where she is now or something.
Don't know. Yeah, here's Peter the book. Lonesome Dove is perfect for Juno on the Range. It's a great book. It's just a long book. It's like 900 pages.
But it's a great book.
It is a good one.
Yeah, I love that book.
Cobalt Dragon, same. I read it. To Kill a Bach in high school. Would like to experience him as an adult. Let's get some more questions. I read both as a younger person. Now at 60. Michael, I really like your series of videos on your favorite books.
Thank you.
I was watching your most recent one, and I'm sure this happens to everyone. You watch a video and you get distracted, but you have to do something right away, and you stop it. You just never go back and finish. But you're getting some really good books that in your countdown.
Thanks. I've got to do part 2 now. It's all set. I just got to sit down and record it.
Cool. Yeah. I've never read Shogun. That's been
popular. Oh, Shogun is just brilliant. Oh, what an awesome book.
Yeah, I like Shogun, but I go out on a limb and I think King Rat is a better book.
King Rat. I wouldn't say it's better, but it's definitely as good.
Yeah. Okay.
God, he must have. It sounds like he's as good as like a Steinbeck. Because East of Eden,
a British Steinbeck, maybe.
He's British. I didn't even know that.
James tells an exciting story, but I don't know how much real depth is under James Clavell, the way there was behind Steinbeck. But they're good books. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're good books.
Yeah, he's a master storyteller.
That's it. He's a really good storyteller. Where Taipei, Gaijin.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Noble House.
Noble House. Those are the ones I've read. I have not read his final Whirlwind.
Nope, that's one I haven't read either. I plan to read it this year or next year.
I've heard that Whirlwind is just not as good as his others.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. But I want to get it read just so I can say I've read all his books.
Yep, I want to get that done too.
You talk about Michener?
No, this is James Clavell.
Oh,
James Clavell.
No, Michener wrote an enormous amount of. You were the one who were talking about Michener, weren't you, Mike? He started at 40.
Started writing at 47 years old. Wrote. He wrote till he was 97 and wrote 50 books in that time.
That's just an amazing. And his books are huge. Some of them are huge. Not all of them are huge, but a lot of them are huge.
A lot of them are gigantic. Yeah.
Yeah, I have this book by him. He has great photos in it, and I graduated from Kent State, and I've been back several times, and I've seen the memorial there. It's really interesting, and they have bullet holes in like the pagoda. There's a little pagoda there. There's a bullet hole through it, but the museum is great, and they have a memorial for it. Where the 4 were shot and killed. There were 13 shot and injured. But anyway, I won't digress into that. But this is a good Michener book.
I've only read Chesapeake.
I've read a bunch of his.
And Jim is going, oh yeah, Neon. I said Neon Bible, which was Kennedy Toole's juvenile novel. He's talking about Neon Rain, yeah. Hey MJ, MJ's back for a second. People,
Hey, MJ.
hi to MJ. MJ.
Yeah, we were talking about the MJ.
I'm about halfway through. There's some really weird stuff that happens in this book that I want you to get to it so I can talk to you on Vox. It's like, how is he doing that? It's just too weird.
Guess what
He doesn't explain it. It's like he just shows a little picture of something and going like, wait a second, that doesn't fit with the story. But of course, it is fitting with the story. But how? She's got the compendium. She's got to explain it to me.
Oh, wow! You guys are really doing like a deep dive into that. Cool.
Well, it's not a huge deep dive. It's just like check out chapter 4, page 29. Just
yeah. I buddy read that with Adam Savage. I buddy read from hell. Adam Savage. But guess what? Stephen King. I'll give you a clue. Old Stephen King. I'm going to buddy read with MJ and May about animals.
Pet Cemetery?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's his best, I think that's his best book, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Although it's really interesting that Stephen King, I don't think, liked that book.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, he thought it was a little too dark. And
yes.
for Stephen King to think something was dark, it's got to be pretty dark.
It is, but I think it has the best ending.
Yeah.
I just remember that the very last word, that book.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I can.
I'm going to have to read it again. I've got it on audiobook.
Isn't there a lot of Native American stuff in it?
Not a huge. I mean,
not really.
The basic premise is that there's a Native American graveyard, and if you plant a body in that graveyard, it's going to come back to life.
Right, and some cats do come back to life, if I remember.
Well, the thing was like you're only supposed to do pets.
Oh, plug your ears, MJ. Well, it's too late now. I never mind spoilers too much myself.
I'm not giving a huge spoiler.
No.
It's pretty much on the back cover. Yeah, she's reading that with me. Woohoo, my copy of How Woke 1 has just arrived. Curious. Oh. I don't know that. I've not heard of that book yet. So I'll get it from Elaine eventually when she does her video about that. Read the book. Same characters, different situations. Yeah, he's talking about Ghost at a Watchman. I Bet From Hell is great, but very complex. He took years and years to research it. He does. I mean, he took some people's theories about Jack the Ripper. Because, there are so many theories about who the Jack the Ripper was that it's basically something that will never be solved. And he throws in all this really, really weird stuff that just like, I can't believe he's trying that. And that is the Watchmen sequel to Kill a Mockingbird. Yep, we're talking about that. Now, Watchmen was the original. She was asked to rework it. Okay. Oh, MJ's got a jet. She's in some sort of class. Strong adult themes. I guess he's talking about Ghosts at a Watchman. Currently, I'm reading a book, One Can Make a Difference by Ingrid E. Newkirk, about how celebrities are trying to make a change in the world. Okay.
I vote for that.
I never heard of it. Or at least
although celebrities can get on their soapboxes.
They can.
but they're generally trying for the good of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Gareth, it's really good. Guys, do you rate Walter Tevis? He did the Man Who Fell to Earth and The Hustler, right? The one about the pool shark. Is it called The Hustler? That I read that one, and the one about the pool shark is really actually good.
Yeah, I just know the movie with Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota
It's a brilliant movie.
Yeah, I used to be really good at billiards. I still am, but not to mention my dream. But you had a billiard table in your basement, Greg, and then I was thinking in the dream, I thought, why does he have a billiard table in his basement when there's one down at the club? And I thought he was taking up room. Anyway, I'll tell you about it. I like billiards.
Yeah, we have billiard tables up at my lodge, so I would never spend the space and the money on one. And consider I really, really stink. Whenever I try to play pool, I just really stink at it. So
yeah, you do have to practice. Well, I grew up with pool.
Whenever I play billiards, I tell people to duck.
Oh, gee. You must put a lot of English on it.
Oh, yeah.
you see, I'm just afraid of tearing the cloth from that pool table and like ducking out real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So, Flo, I'm reading Killers of the Flower Moon by David Gran. Has anyone read? Yeah, I have read that one before.
I've only seen the movie.
Mm-hmm. Now, the one thing about that book is Alan, you will get this immediately, that he's like Sartoris, Colonel Sartoris from Faulkner. No. Is that right? Not Sartoris. The guy from Absalom. Sutpen. He's like Sutpen. Oh. He's like Sutpen. And I'm going like, okay, once you say someone's like Sutpen, that just sets all these alarm bells going off.
Did you get triggered? Greg got triggered.
Not triggered. It's for a mystery where you're trying to. Well, I'm not going to get too much detail. It's just too much. It's the wrong detail to put in a book.
I fell asleep during the movie, and I saw it with a group of people, a group of NA people, like the art director here. I fell asleep in the movie theater. They laughed it off, but it was kind of embarrassing. I need to see that again.
It's a 3-hour movie. I'm never going to watch it. Yep. Well, thanks, Flo. She said she learned so much. So Joanna Williams, author who was banned from speaking here at my public library. So of course, now I have to read her book and know my library doesn't have a copy.
Yeah, let me write that down. Joanna Williams.
Is that which book is that? Did she mention it earlier? I don't think so.
I don't think she did. Joanna Williams.
Well, whenever someone tries to ban a book like that locally, it always makes me want to read it. Like in Virginia, when I moved here, the guy who won the governorship, Glenn Youngkin, was all about getting Toni Morrison's Beloved out of schools.
Oh my God!
What? So what do I do? I said, well, I'll just reread that book because you don't want people in your school. So
I love that book.
It is, and the thing is, I think it's perfectly. I mean, there's some graphic content, but I think it's perfectly acceptable anywhere from like 10th to 12th grade.
Is that? Do you think it was banned because of the graphic content, and not because of the slavery stuff, or
a little bit of both? There are some people who really want to pretend that slavery never happened, or that it wasn't as bad as it's depicted.
Crazy.
Well, in Texas, there was a movement. I don't know how far it's gotten to replace the word slavery with involuntary relocation.
God, man, what an insult! What a total insult! It's crazy these days. It really is in the world how people want to go back, make America great again. I mean, I have fond memories growing up. I had it going on in high school. I had a lot of money, jobs, cars. I'd go through cars and work on them and sell them. You know, I had it going on in high school. But to go back to that politically, no, craziness.
Well, I almost made a joke somewhere where, Huckleberry Finn gets edited a lot, where the name of the character is Slave Jim in the polite version.
Right. God.
And I said, well, in Texas, you're going to have to re-edit it, and you can't say Slave Jim anymore. So you're going to go involuntary relocation Jim.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, that's too much of a mouthful. Just call him Reload Jim.
Yeah.
Doesn't that flow off the tongue? It's Reload Jim.
I've got a couple copies of Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah.
Got a Norton Critical edition I just love. But it was one of the first real novels I read as a kid. I remember reading it, and I remember the cover, and I remember specifically the scene where Huck dresses up like a girl, and he's got a dress on, and he drops something, and closes his legs, where a girl would have opened them and have the dress catch the object. A man doesn't want his jewels getting hit, so he goes like that. And that's how Hawk was discovered. But yeah, I love that book. It's one of my favorite books.
It's one of the great American novels. It's sort of on my list to read for the Banned Books Project again. I don't know if we'll get to it this year, but
I want to read James for sure. That
Purcell Everett,
right.
It's a brand new book. What's also a good book is a book called Finn by John Clinch.
Ah.
Finn is the story of Huckleberry Finn's father.
I think I've heard of that.
I've mentioned it a couple times because he's not a very nice character in Huckleberry Finn, and he winds up dead in the river.
I know he's a big drunk,
but yeah, it's all about him and how he wound up dead in the river and what kind of father he was to Huck.
Who wrote it?
John Clinch.
John Clinch. Cool.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we've got Gareth is going to be reading The Hustler. There is a sequel to The Hustler that I have not read. That was also made into a famous movie. The movie was The Color of Money. Oh,
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Here's Elaine. The book is How Woke One by Joanna Williams. Okay, so we can go look that up on the internet after the show.
Good.
Okay,
Thanks.
gentlemen, we've been on for 1 hour and 40 minutes.
Oh man.
Michael, anything you want to add or talk about? Any subjects that come to mind that you want to bring up?
No, not really, but I've had a great time.
Well, thank you for coming. I think it's about time to call it an evening.
Uh-huh.
I know, Michael, you got to head out to work pretty soon.
I got to work, yeah.
Oh, geez. I have to eat dinner. Maybe I'll cook those scallops after you mentioned it, Michael.
Awesome. Send me some.
Some butter.
Well, to everyone in the chat room, I would like to thank everyone showing up.
Yeah, thanks,
Giving us
guys.
some comments and some books to think about. And we shall see people next week. And again, Michael, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Like having you. So good night, everyone.
Good night, all.